Welcome to Universal Light, Pure Love Ministries, ULPLM.
I am Aaron Fowler.
I am Holistic Mystic Norma.
And today, and also we have Tammy Wenestrom.
Spirit
Intuitive Tammy, also known as, AKA. Yep. And today we are going to talk about some astrology. That's not something that I am well-versed in, though I use it intuitively. But that is something me as a psychic would go to. I would go to someone like that to chart things out for me to be able to read for myself. So I would want to go to someone like Lakshay, like Astrologer Lakshay. But basically, we're just going to kind of delve into it and learn more about it as he explains kind of the transit in 2019 and what's going on currently, what just happened. We'll kind of go through the past, the present, and the future, and just everybody kind of take it and take it in and just see how this thing works, because astrology is really you can utilize it in your life, and it's a very precise thing when you want to use it correctly, and if you're willing to have the faith that it's going to work and listen to what it's trying to tell you and what the stars are trying to tell you, it helps you, just for the betterment of your life, and to kind of know your path and not to give up. And these are some strengths, these are some weaknesses you can look out for. Correct me if I'm wrong, Lakshay.
Here's where they are for you.
Yeah, I think exactly. I think very well said, Aaron. I think this year has a lot of transits happening, and we recently had Rahu and Ketu, which is the North Node and the South Node, transiting from Cancer to Gemini for Rahu, and from Capricorn to Sagittarius for Ketu. So those two have been like really revolutionary transits, because these planets don't change the sign very often. So it's not like Mars, Mercury, or Sun, who change like once in a month or so. So their results happen like they give out the results once in 1.5 years. So it's after 1.5 years that Rahu and Ketu have changed signs. And so they've got with them a lot of changes, change of energies. And so they're going to impact different in a very different way. So for every zodiac, be it Aries, Taurus, Gemini, till Pisces, the results are going to be different. So also we have Jupiter transiting in Scorpio currently, and it's going to move to Sagittarius very soon, but that will be for a very brief period, say for a month. And then it's going to come back to Scorpio and then move permanently, like for a long time. It's going to be in Sagittarius from November onwards for around a year. But so let's just start with going one by one from Aries till Pisces and cover what the transit holds for all these.
Aries to Pisces is basically what date is that? What dates are those? Like what are we? What time frame are we talking about?
Yeah, so when we talk about Vedic astrology, we are not talking about sun signs here. So it's not related to your date of birth. We are talking about ascendants here, which are the rising signs. So if you want to find out what your rising sign is, you just need to send me your date of birth, place of birth, and time of birth, and I'll tell you your precise rising sign.
So basically, what I'm saying is we're talking about time frames, just what's going on. We're talking about transits. You're talking about what's to come, right? And you're talking about presently and what's happening. So like I was saying, past, present, and future.
True.
Maybe let's kind of elaborate on when these things are happening and what we can expect. I think that's what you're trying to do anyway. Sorry.
Yeah, true. So that's what we'll be talking about, as you mentioned, Aaron. And so let's start with Aries, and which is the first zodiac. So for Aries rising, this transit is going to give mixed results, majorly because Saturn, which is the lord of their 10th house and their 11th house, is in the 9th house, and it is placed with Ketu. So it's not a very good placement for Saturn, because being the lord of 10th house, it's in the 9th house, which is 12th house from itself. So the 10th house is the house of career, the house of profession. So for all the Arians, I would suggest them not to go for a job change, just hang in there. And though they are very ambitious by nature, as we know, they have those very ambitious characteristics and they want to, just get the best out of life. But
Yeah.
this year, they need to just be at peace at where they are. And it will give them some monetary benefits because Saturn is aspecting the 11th house. 11th house is the house of gains. So because of Saturn's aspect on the 11th house, it's going to get them some money somehow.
Okay.
So they don't need to worry about the monetary aspect. That's going to be handled. They just need to be okay with their current job, with what they're doing currently in life, and just wait for the right time to come, which is next year, to go for a job change.
And this is generally for everybody, right?
With
this
an
is,
Aries
This is generally for all the Aries. Aries
for all the
rising.
Aries. For all the Aries.
Aries
Okay.
rising.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is for Aries, and the good
If you're
part is
Aries,
that it is a very good time for them to take the spiritual path because Saturn with Ketu in the ninth house gets you, climb the ladders of spirituality. So if they invest some time and try to understand what their soul is about, it's like time for some self-discovery and some self-awareness. So that if they get into that lifestyle, a spiritual lifestyle, it can be very beneficial for them because
Okay.
Saturn with Ketu gives a very good spiritual inclination
Okay.
and which works out for the native.
Yeah.
So that's
So
for Aries. Let's move to sorry.
go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Finish.
Okay.
Finish what
we
you're
should
saying.
move on to the next slide.
Yeah, should we move to
Yeah, go
Taurus
ahead.
now? Yeah. Okay.
Well,
So Taurus, as we know, they are very strong-willed because Taurus
yes.
represents the bull, right? So they have a lot of self-confidence and they are like fighters and they are very creative people. But as we see that for them, time is not very favorable again because the Lord of their luck and the Lord of their profession both is in the eighth house, which is Saturn. So because of this, they are going to have to work hard to achieve things. So it's not going to be as easy for them as it was last year. So this year they need to kind of put their 200% to achieve, whatever they want to achieve in life. So my advice for all the Taurians is just go get going and put your best foot forward and keep working hard. It's gonna take a lot of hard work to get there, but eventually you will get there.
Right.
So that's my advice for Taurians. And another good part about the transit for Taurians is that Rahu is now in their second house, which can bring unexpected gains. So again, they can, it can be some flow of money which they are not even expecting, like a lottery,
Right. Okay.
So yeah, so that's the good part. But they don't have to rely on it. They don't have to like keep waiting for it.
Right.
They need to,
Right.
go their way.
Right.
So yeah. So that's for Taurus, and now we can maybe move to Gemini. For Gemini, as I see that now Rahu has occupied the first house in transit, and Ketu and Saturn are in the seventh house. So when these planets occupy the first and the seventh house respectively, it creates a turmoil in the relationships. So they have to be like careful with people, just be patient and give it time, especially with their partner. So that's going to be a challenge for them because their seventh house is afflicted by Saturn and Ketu. So it kind of creates a disharmony with the partner or in relationships in general. So
Right.
that's going to be a challenge for the Gemini people. Along with that, another good thing about the transit for them is that they can have materialistic gains out of it because they have exalted Rahu in the first house. So it can give materialistic gains like get them a car, and they can think about like starting something new, starting something afresh for monetary gain.
We'll see
So
that.
that's kind of can work in their favor. So
Right.
yeah, so that's for Gemini. And any questions?
Well, see, I want you to, okay. So I'm kind of waiting for you to kind of go through your run through of everybody. But,
Okay.
and I'm
And then
trying
we
to
can
kind of hold my
do
questions
questions.
only because, it really does kind of go with your rising sign as opposed to what you
Right.
are. And I, you know, I have my 2 cents, because as we learn these tools, as we kind of can see what our astrological forecast says,
Right.
you know, that doesn't necessarily put a blocker, a stop on us. You know, we just know when we know what areas are our strengths and what areas
True.
are our weaknesses, we know
Yeah.
in which ways to flow to
Exactly.
make it great for us all the way
True.
around. You know, so.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you finish your
Exactly.
rundown, and I'm going to try my best to remember all the questions that I have. So,
And we're going to ask you
Sure.
questions, and we're going to talk, and we're going to have
Right.
some fun.
right.
Oh, okay,
So
great.
breathe,
So I
brother,
think-
breathe.
Right. Yep.
Take
So,
some
yeah,
deep
so
breaths
as
when
the
you do
nor-
these messages. Give the
Right.
people time for them to have, you know, let it marinate.
Yeah. So I think as you put it very perfectly, that you know, every transit brings some good and bad, and it's up to us how we channelize our energy. If we
Right.
know yet to put our efforts, yeah. So perfect. So yeah, so let's move to Cancer.
Okay.
So Cancer are in general very emotional people, very sensitive people, and the best part about this transit is that it has it has become much better for them as compared to last year, because they have got off Rahu from their first house, which was creating a lot of turmoil in their head. Rahu in the first house creates a lot of confusion, and it just takes away the peace of mind. So now they are much at peace with Rahu and Ketu leaving their first and seventh house respectively. Also, it gives way to better relationships. So it's the best time for them to, you know, get into a relationship, or, you know, work that out, or get into a business partnership, because now their seventh house is strong. Along with that, I also see that it's going to get them a lot of favor of luck, because Jupiter is transiting in their fifth house, and it's aspecting the house of luck, which means it's watching over the house of luck. So it's going to get them, you know, it's going to make them lucky. So
Awesome.
that's what I see for them. I also see a lot of foreign travel for them, uh, because Rahu is in their 12th house, and 12th house means travel, foreign travel. So they might be, you know, making all their trips to Europe and Bali. You know, it's a good time for them to go
That would
ahead.
be awesome.
Actually,
And,
we have
right?
a friend on Facebook that was just in Bali, or might still be
I
there.
want to go to Bali.
Oh,
I want to travel
Yeah, I'd love to go to Bali.
everywhere at some point, and in my subconscious,
Oh, wonderful.
I
So I
travel
think-
everywhere, but
right. So
anywhere I
actually,
can
this
make it to,
transit,
I'd be happy.
yeah. No, for this transit, a lot of zodiacs, you know, can actually go and travel abroad, and, you know, travel all those places where they always wanted to. Because for 3 or 4 zodiacs, this is a very good time to, you know, go out of their country and see things around. So
Yes.
I'll mention all the rising signs for which travel is going to be very favorable.
Awesome.
Yeah. So yeah. So let's move to Leo, the lion.
Leo,
That's
Yeah.
my rising.
the lion,
I
yes.
think.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I think
that's
you're
my
rising. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's good news for you, Norma, because
Sagittarius.
it's going to be
Yeah,
very favorable for you and very auspicious. So it's because you have now Rahu placed in your 11th house. 11th house is for financial gains.
That's good.
So you can expect a lot of inflow of money.
I've been
with
helping.
your-
I've been putting a lot of
That's a
energy
good thing.
out, so
Yes.
I'm hoping this is.
If y'all
when
like
it
a
comes
reading,
back.
yes, please.
Yeah.
We're welcome to give you all kinds of readings. Yes. please.
I
Right.
also do weddings and
Oh
blessings
wow,
and
lovely,
breathing sessions, all kinds of things. So
Meditations.
beautiful. So I think
Oh
that's
yeah, let's
good. You're
start
gonna
right
do that
here.
a lot.
Let's have everybody. Where can people reach you if they'd like their own
yes,
chart done?
yes, and because I know someone
they
that was just
can-
asking actually. So
Go ahead. Uh-oh, he
oh
froze.
no, is that us?
I don't think so. I think we're still live.
I mean, and well, no, I know, but I mean,
Tammy's freezing. Oh,
Here he comes. Here he comes.
there we go.
All right.
Oh,
Sorry.
so I have a
hold on.
website which is astrovedic.com.
Okay.
So that's how they can reach out to me, and they can also contact me via Facebook on my Facebook handle, which is Astrologer Lakshay.
Okay.
Awesome, excellent.
Sorry, didn't mean. So we're getting
Yeah.
into Leo now, right?
Yes.
into Leo, and it's good news for Norma because
Yes.
it's going to be a good time for her. She's going to get a lot of tarot card readings
Good.
because
And weddings, I
Jupiter,
think.
yeah, lovely. So Jupiter is in the fourth house, which is a very good placement for Jupiter because it's aspecting the house of career, so house of profession. So it's watching over it. It's sending all its good energy to it. So very good year professionally for Leos. And also Rahu in the 11th will get them a lot of inflow of money, finance. So it's definitely a very positive year for Leos.
Yay.
Yeah. So, okay. So that was for Leos. And now we move to Virgo. For Virgo, we see that Rahu has moved to the house of career, which is the 10th house. And the best part is that Rahu is exalting in that house. So Rahu is very powerful in the 10th house for Virgos. So again, it's a very good year professionally for Virgos. The only thing which they need to worry about is that they should take care of the health of their mother because they have Ketu and Saturn in their fourth house. Fourth house is the house of mother. So it usually causes some health issues to the mother. So if they kind of, take care of her and, get her, get her regular checkup done and take her to a physician regularly for checkups, it should be good. So they just need to, take care of that part. Otherwise, it's all good for Virgos as well. Yeah.
Excellent.
So we are halfway. We have covered 6
We're halfway.
very important zodiac signs.
Don't worry, I'm going to put you to a challenge. I'm going to
No,
challenge you with some questions in a little bit. So just prepare.
Oh wow!
Continue on.
Right now?
He says,
not yet.
He says,
Keep
"Oh,
going.
no, they're not. It's not a bad thing. Man. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing.
Lovely. Okay. So let's go to Libra, the sign with the balance. So Librans have this habit of balancing everything in life. That's like an intrinsic
My mother's
nature.
a Libra.
Oh,
and
really?
my sister.
Oh,
Yes.
Wow. So you must have observed that they kind of plan everything, right? They're not people you call 11 p.m. in the night.
No.
Let's go. No, they're people you need to pre-inform, so they have to plan their life. And so they're very good with planning. And so they don't like impromptu plans, So for Libra, Jupiter is now in their second house, and it's aspecting the 10th and the 8th house together, which can again lead to a growth in their career. So it's a very good time for them to change their current job, because whenever Rahu leaves the 10th house, which is the indicates job change. So for Libra, my suggestion is to grab the next job because it's going to get you a lot of new opportunities, learning curve. So
so basically for Libras, and if you don't have any plans to change your jobs, be open to that next opportunity for the raise, for the change of job, for the different position, for the learning opportunity. Be open for the growth.
Yes.
I think the voice is breaking.
Could
you go again, Norma?
What was that? I'm sorry.
Could you go again? I just missed what you said.
Oh, okay. What I was saying is basically, I think what you're trying to say is for those Libras out there that have zero opening in their minds to changing their jobs, be open to the job advance or to the education with the job or the raise that's coming or be open to job growth, even if you're not going to change your job.
Right, exactly. So that's going to happen because I also see a lot of appraisals happening for them into, a promotion, like they can get a good promotion at their current role. So because it's going to work out in their favor, and as Rahu has moved to their 9th house from their 10th house, so it's going to it does indicate a change in role, a change in position, or a change in job.
Awesome.
So it's definitely good for them. It's a good time for them to invest in property, as Saturn is now with Ketu. Ketu is like an amplifier. So it strengthens the planet which it sits with. So if it's with Saturn, it's gonna strengthen Saturn. If it's with Mars, it's gonna strengthen Mars, right? So currently it's with Saturn, and Saturn indicates property in their chart. So it's a very good time for them to invest in a property, or buy a new house, right?
Nice.
So because Ketu is do that. So that's for Libra. And now we move to Scorpio. As I see for Scorpio, Jupiter is in their first house, which is the best placement of Jupiter. So it's very favorable for them because it's activating the first house, the fifth house, and the ninth house. So Jupiter has fifth aspect, so it watches over the fifth house. It has ninth aspect, it watches over the ninth house, which are all very auspicious houses in a horoscope. So it's going to be here for them. And I would just suggest them to be careful in their interaction with their seniors, because Jupiter represents teachers, seniors, managers, astrologers, psychics. All those are represented by Jupiter, because Jupiter represents wisdom.
Yeah, I can feel so it's actually kicking that up a notch, right? That energy is actually
I think that's one of my
higher right now, right? The psychic energy.
Exactly. It has, yeah.
Freezing up a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm still
It must be all the solar storms coming in and the energy.
I don't know, maybe. What do you? I don't know, Tammy. What do you have to say after listening a little bit? What do you think, Tammy? Do you have any questions for Lakshay?
No, I'm feeling a lot of what he's talking about. I'm sensing it. I don't know anything about astrology, and I'm eager to learn. But I just go by what I'm feeling and what I'm sensing, and what he is saying is resonating with me as far as every sign of the zodiac goes, and what's happening, what I'm seeing happen in people's lives. It's resonating. It's hitting home. So I know there's a lot more to this subject than what I know about. And I'm just grateful to be here and listening to Lakshay, who knows way more than I do.
That's why we're all here. That's why we're here. Right. We're here to learn. He's going to give a forecast, and then after, if he doesn't mind, if you don't mind, Lakshay, we're going to talk a little bit about, astrology for beginners. Vedic astrology for beginners and people that want to get into it.
Awesome.
And, go ahead and continue with what you're doing. Sorry.
Or simply just how astrology can help you.
We're ADD, so we'll stop you many times, and that's just the way it works.
And you know what, though? You've been on our show a few times, and you know how to just be patient and let us run. So gratitude, brother.
No, but I think Tammy made a very good point, because I know that you people can feel the energies around you because you are psychics. And I think if we combine astrology with, with this medium, with the energies, then it can really help out a lot of people, because it's intuition plus astrology. So I think
it's like a play. It's a blueprint.
The power of both.
It's a blueprint of how. It's a playbook. Yeah, that's basically what you're using. I mean, what I would be utilizing for. I mean, I have a friend that used to study astral diagnosis. You know anything about that?
Oh wow, astral diagnosis. Yeah,
he spent 10 years studying.
You still studying it?
For about 10 years in the Rosicrucian Fellowship.
What is it? I've never heard of that before.
Oh, yeah. And he's amazing. His diagnosis for me, it seems to resonate very much so on like a spiritual level. Even when I go in and I kind of question, because I made free will choices that kind of, would have severed that particular rope, right? So even going in spiritually thinking, okay, now if I made this decision, that can't be true, right? And when you go in and you figure it out, you go, okay, well, and things can change. Anyway, goes into a whole nother deeper conversation.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying, Norma. And, I've seen that astrology is something, if you combine it with another medium, like the numerology, or say, the psychic science, or say medical science. Nowadays, a lot of people are doing astrology with medical science. So, it is very useful for people who have chronic ailments. So astrology can help them out. It's called medical astrology. So we can use astrology to heal not just the emotional, also healing people who have, any chronic diseases or, all those ailments. So we can try to figure out which planets, which energies are not working well.
Right.
We can give them remedies which they can, do practice to kind of get rid of.
Much like the human body itself, when each human body, even though a certain medicine, plant or otherwise, works for this particular thing, in each human body it reacts different because each human body is its own little universe. And in each little universe, the stars are aligned just a little bit differently.
The way I see it is for everyone. Yeah.
Right. The way I've seen it is we all come from these when we're born. We're born at certain times. There is perfection there. This is divine perfection, right? This is divine architecture. So when we're born into certain houses, right? We're born into certain houses. And born into certain planetary alignments. And that's what we're talking about.
In a certain constellation, in a certain zodiac, in a certain constellation, and everything goes with you throughout your life. All those energies will always be with you no matter what you do. So it's like you need to just kind of channelize your energies in the right direction to make the best out of your energies at the time of your birth when you were born.
Yes.
And that's what we're doing here. We're talking about, we're giving, consider this a spiritual newscast. Consider this an ethereal newscast. This is, this is a forecast of what's to come. Of what?
So where are we at now? I lost track. What zodiac are we talking about?
We're kind of talking about a little something different, taking a little segue into something else for a minute, and then
sidetrack.
Right.
Yes.
Well, one of those.
It's a purposeful sidetrack.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Here is the basic in general. If this is your rising house,
exactly.
Know that this is for you no matter what. If this is your rising house, this is kind of in your planetary field. However, if you want to know how it's going to affect you personally, every human being is different. And so, seeking out and knowing and understanding it for yourself.
As you very well explained, Norma. So this predictions that we are doing currently, they're going to influence everyone, as per the zodiac. But it has got more to it. Now, it depends on how your planets are placed in your natal chart. Yes. So that's going to add another dimension to it. So what we are doing currently are very generalized results. They are personalized zodiacs, but they don't tell everything, So there's more to it because it depends on, where Norma is born, where Tammy is born, and at what time Aaron is born, right? And it's going to be different even if all three of you have the same sign, so the same zodiac. Even then it's going to be different because you have different planets ruling over time. You have different planets ruling over you when you were born.
Yep.
So even that's another dimension which is gonna, make a difference.
And that's what I just want to say this when we say we are multi-dimensional beings.
Right,
even just this 3D being and how it works has so many dimensional levels and so many different tool aspects in which you can look at it and work within yourself to master yourself. That it is magic. Be grateful
I
to
have
be.
A question.
Good, go for it.
What is a rising sign?
What is a rising sign?
That is a great question.
That's a great question, Tammy.
I mean, you're talking a foreign language to me. I have no idea.
So I'll try to explain in brief what a rising sign is. It can take hours to explain it entirely, but I'll try to explain it as briefly as I can. So when we say sign, we know that it's the sign where your sun is a sun sign, right? So for people born in mid-April to mid-May, it's Aries. People born from May to June, it's Taurus, and so on. And that's the sign on which the Western system of astrology works. So they make the sun sign as the most important subject for them, the predictions. So, but in the Vedic system, we have this thing called ascendant. As you know, the name ascendant means ascending. So based on your time of birth and your place of birth, the zodiac which is ascending in the eastern horizon every 2 hours is your
Hold on 1 second. Sorry.
Oh,
Lakshay.
Take a little tiny breath.
Slow down just a little bit because I'm like, what?
Well, as you're explaining,
whoa,
your energy
You're
is
very,
rising.
yes.
You're an amazing teacher. But as you're explaining it and the
She's
lesson
gonna
is coming
explain
through, you're starting to really kind of blink out the energy, and you're just freezing up the equipment.
Slow it down about half if you can.
You're messing up the equipment. You know, it's the energy. It's
that
not you.
Coming off of him.
Right.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Okay. Yeah. So we were talking about a question that Tammy raised. So ascendant is the zodiac which is rising in the eastern horizon when you are born. So at the time of your birth, rising in the eastern horizon is your ascendant. And it changes every 2 hours. So every 2 hours, you have a new sign rising. So for example, if currently it's Gemini, then after 2 hours, it's going to be Cancer. So at the particular time of birth and the place of birth and the date of birth, at exactly that moment in time, the sign which is rising in the eastern horizon is the ascendant. So that's why it's very precise. It's very precise because it's exactly based on your date of birth, place of birth, and time of birth. So it has like three dimensions, 3 factors
just
that go
in that
into
moment. There's 3 dimensions to your livelihood.
Yeah,
Just in that moment, there's 3 dimensions to your livelihood. Sorry.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I wanted to let everybody know if there's people in that are watching, ask a question. If you have any questions about, it doesn't matter if it is about astrology or psychic abilities, ask us. Ask us a question. We will definitely, try to answer it as best as we can.
From all the aspects we have.
Go ahead. Yeah. So that's the ascendant.
Where were we at? We're
Leo. We're just finishing up Leo.
Sign. He was telling you what the rising sign.
Yes.
Gotcha.
The rising sign.
Yeah.
So we can discuss more about
every 2 hours from the
we can discuss more about the maybe we can have the episode for that. Where we just talk about what a rising sign is in detail, and we can discuss the characteristics
I was just thinking about. I was
You
thinking about it, like the way you can explain that. I mean, I know this is a little different. That's why you're getting challenged, because you do know both of them, right? You do know both of them,
and also
because you have to know both of them to learn the Vedic in the first place.
Also the moon sign. That's also very important. So we have the moon sign as well.
I was told how you can tell that is start with your chart of where it starts, which is what, Aries, right?
Yeah.
So you start at Aries. Think about that as the sun up. When the sun first starts to rise, or the top of the 24-hour clock, or whatever, however many. Anyway,
whatever different.
That's kind of how you adjust. You adjust it by what the sun is. That's part of what the rising sign is. The rising sun, right?
True.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, I could
perfect.
Correct.
So it always starts in Aries. Is that?
That's
right?
the beginning. That's the first sign.
That's the first sign.
Okay.
That's the first one. So it goes from Aries to Taurus to Pisces.
Yeah.
It keeps changing. Like every 2 hours, it's gonna change.
Pisces right here.
Every 2
I gotta wait
hours.
till the end every time to hear my horoscope.
So when we started the show, it might be some other ascendant, and when we finish the show, it's going to be another ascendant.
Right. Exactly.
So that's the accuracy. That's the accuracy.
Moment, everything matters, and that's
when
you say you're in the moment and you're multidimensional, and don't get fixated in one space, because really in the moment of your birth, you just had 3 dimensions in the moment you were born. That's 3.
True.
Okay. And from every moment on, you're adding more dimensions, more layers, more aspects, more memories, more. We are ever evolving, ever expanding.
Teresa Lepre in comments says like a wheel, and that's what it is. It's like a wheel.
Exactly.
Yes.
And if you talk about astrology, then it's like an ocean, because it's so vast. Vast. Yeah, exactly. So even like it's been 8 years for me, and I'm still learning. So whenever I see a new chart, every chart is a new chart for me, because every chart, every horoscope is different. I've never seen the same horoscope again.
Moment to moment, and where you are. And yes, here's this roadblock, but because I recognize this roadblock, I was able to kind of go, wait a second, it's not a roadblock, and I was able to transcend what the stars had written for me, because I realized
because you got aware of it. Yeah.
Flowed within it and was able to get past it. And so, yeah, sorry. I'm heading elsewhere.
Anyway, what sign were we on after the sun sign? And yes, people are in here in the comments, and thank you. Please like and share this and subscribe and hit that bell so you get the notifications. We're going to start having him in here
way more
at least
often.
once a month and start putting him to the...
Lakshay and I were talking
once
about
every couple of
teaching
months.
it. Actually, Lakshay and I were doing about weekly classes, teaching people
There you go.
all
Well, you
about
can do,
it. I went kind of cold
seminars
for a while as far as lives went, and I apologize, everyone, but I'm going to get back into that. No more excuses. And yeah, we'll come live way more often, explain how it works, and understand that he can never give you all the answers because it changes in each moment, just like our rising sun.
But he can give you, it's kind of like okay, if anybody out there plays
moment to moment.
the stock market and plays investments, right? You have your short-term, you have your short-term payoffs, you have your middle-term payoffs, right? They pay off in maybe a few years, and then you have those long terms, right? So you can break this down. That's astrology. You can break that down into the short term. What's going to happen like soon? What's going to happen?
That's what we do.
That's
what we do. Yeah.
And when the more aware of
we have like predictions,
the more conscious your will can work, and the more that you choose your life.
It's a form of speculation that has actually proven very right.
Exactly as you put. Yeah, I think that's very well said, Aaron. And I think that we get into astrology, and is to kind of solve our problems and our day-to-day life issues. It gives you the direction, to kind of invest only in the things which are going to reward you. So you get to know that, okay, this is not a good time for me to say join a music class, or or join something or do something creative. Rather, it's the time for me to maybe start a restaurant. So
right
I know
now,
where to go.
Marinate on this and go for that, because this
to
could
go
change
for
in
this,
a minute.
not for that.
This is something that's working. So.
Right.
Yeah.
So we kind of make better decisions.
Americans out there, this is way older than America. It's very ancient. It's a very ancient technology and way to calculate things, and it works. And it's proven. If it didn't work, it wouldn't still be here.
Well, and but let's think about it. What happens from moment to moment in
you keep
in
wanting
our
to go
lives?
back to that moment to moment.
Well, exactly, because here's the thing: our lives are each our moments, right?
Yes.
This is what we are. We are living conscious moments. We're collectively creating moments together, and I'm sorry, maybe it's because of the way my brain works, but moments matter.
Yes.
And so when you can break
moments matter, that sounds like a
it's very important because
there's a lot of things I don't remember that I wish I could remember more clearly. Not necessarily for myself, but because there are people that will come to me and I remember this and it makes me feel so good, but then at the same time I'm like, oh wow, I don't even remember this. And then I feel so bad.
Yeah, it's like, I don't even remember your name.
You know what I mean? And so, and it feels so bad because in the moment of it, it meant everything to me. Obviously, I was giving them what I could, whether it was for them or for someone else. I was giving of myself. And so that moment mattered. But obviously, in my long term, somewhere, it was just a moment. And moments, they are matter. Here's the thing. We are manifested consciousness. We can begin and we can end at any given moment.
True.
And so I think for me, that is why I bring up moments so much. If I know what the stars, the universe, the whole, the big, the macro,
the cosmos,
has to say about things, then I know how to bring myself to my macro and go, okay, so here's how my universe is working within the universe of universes. How am I going to get best absolute moment out of how my moment
this has
is
been inside
working
her for a long time.
Huge moments.
Woo-wee! I've been waiting to release that.
We need to get back on live more often.
Yeah. That's lovely, Norma. And I think we were at Scorpio, right?
She's a Sagittarius.
I'm a Sagittarius, brother. Leo rising.
But and what else?
Leo rising.
For you to get to the Sagittarius part.
We're getting.
We're just one sign away from Sagittarius.
My brain works in this physical realm in which I put myself in. There are many memories that are simply just, I know they're there. I cannot quite remember them. I know the lesson. Obviously, there's something I've held on to.
I think that's what matters.
But to actually remember how it got there, who was
Yeah.
involved, what
That's
it was,
all right.
it's not there.
Right.
And unfortunately, I hate to say, those are just not the important aspects. Now,
True.
I don't like saying that only because other people, other consciousnesses were involved in that moment and felt something in that moment as well. And I don't mean to belittle, diminish, or make smaller how huge that moment was for those other consciousnesses. But your name in that moment for me was not the bigger lesson, unfortunately. But thank God you were there to help me teach it.
Yes.
Or to learn it.
What part? We have a comment. What part of Nancy Smith? What part are we losing you at? Like, what is it you're not understanding? If you send a message in, go continue. You're like you got it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So continue.
Well, no, basically, okay. Well, I'm not quite sure what it is.
And Teresa's critiquing me as usual.
Our life is a series of moments. Okay. Now we are rooted in, attached to, sunk in. We've set our anchor in human. Okay. So in this reality, from every moment, okay, from the time I am born until the time that I die, in this physically manifested body, okay, these are the moments that this one has. I am Norma Louise Rasmussen, and from the time I am born until the time that I die in this physical Norma Louise Rasmussen manifestation, these moments are what created me, made me, set me further, put me apart, whatever it is, right? Okay? But here's
right.
I don't know how to exactly explain this properly, because everyone I've ever met in my life, that I've ever given a moment to say hello to, means something to me. Yes. However, I may not remember who you are. I may not remember your name. I may not remember the first time I said hello.
I think it's just the energy that.
But realizing and understanding in your livelihood, in this whole big thing, instead of putting ourselves in that big, I have to, because I'm this and I should remember it's there. Knowing that when you're living in your authentic life and you're working within the realms and the aspects and the tools that you have, okay, astrology, you make the best and the most of every moment. And ultimately in the big picture, that is what life is, making the most of every moment. And the more tools you have to work in the moment, the bigger and better you can make it.
That's right.
I think lovely. That's very well put up, Norma. And I think we have a lot to learn, from all our experiences. I think we can do another show where we can talk about your experiences, Tammy's experiences, and Aaron's experiences.
We're doing that right now.
Oh, yeah.
We're doing that right now, homie.
Yes, we could do whole shows. You're right.
But yes, well, that's why we're going to continue. We're going to have you in here as a regular if you'd like to, and we're going to do some other.
Sure.
I just want to, we're going to get back to the signs and each one individual sign.
Right.
But that's what this channel was and is, and that's why it's been a while since we've done some live streams, because sometimes you need to take some time to learn, and sometimes things are just nobody has anything new to say, and I don't like to do lives when there's nothing new to say or nothing adding to what we're already or sometimes I use it to reinforce, so I will go in and kind of reiterate what I've already talked about before. But, for the last few months, it's been because there's nothing to project right now. There's nothing in our minds that we wanted to project. So sometimes we are going to go quiet for a while, right? Yeah. But that's, what's important is now things have kind of that resurgence of energy. Yep. But anyway, let's get back to your predictions and your forecasts.
Yes.
And then we'll talk you have some time.
Right.
Sure. And I think so we have just 4 more rising sign left. Mm-hmm. we are done till Scorpio. So Scorpio, just be careful, in your relationships with your manager, with your boss, with your teachers. just be, just be kind
Authority
of,
figures.
yeah, astrologers. And but otherwise, it's a good time for them.
Good.
Yeah. Now let's move to Sagittarius. Yeah. So Sagittarius is the sign where all the action is happening. Because it's the sign which has got the most affected due to this transit. Because now it has got Ketu in the first house, and Ketu gets you thinking. So
Yes.
Ketu with Saturn kind of makes you kind of overcalculative. So you kind of overcalculate things. You kind of find out reasons why someone says a simple hello to you, right? So you kind of keep wondering, okay, why is that? Why is that? Why is that? So that's what Ketu does to you in the first house. And it's with Saturn, and Rahu is in the seventh house, which can cause some strain in love relationships. So again, all the Sagittarians, they need to be a bit patient and more lenient to their partner. Because
I got
some
that one, girlfriend. Sorry, keep going.
some conflict relationships for Sagittarians. And but the best part is a better time from 30th March onwards. That's when Jupiter will transit to Sagittarius. So once Jupiter comes to Sagittarius in their first house, it's going to control Ketu and also Saturn, which are already there in the first house. So for the next, like in April, it's going to be much better for them.
Okay.
So the relief is
Good.
going to be a temporary relief in May. Again, Jupiter is going to move back to Scorpio, but still next is like April is the month where they can put their best foot forward and make the most out of this year. So April is their the month where they can put their best efforts.
And now that you know that there's kind of a strain in that area, you don't have to rush into any shitty decisions or be.
Right.
You now understand that astrologically, there's a reason for this. Let yourself think about it.
Exactly. And also, it's a very good time for them to travel around because Jupiter is in their 12th house. So they can again plan all those trips. I think the best solution for them for this to kind of get away with this year, which is going to cause a lot of chaos in their mind, is just break free, go out and travel. If they keep traveling, it's going to be easy for them. So that's my advice to them: just keep traveling. Don't stay at one place.
Keep stepping, right? Keep moving forward.
Right. Well, there's something about
that. For Sagittarius, correct?
Yeah.
Sagittarians.
I love it. I'm ready to hit the road.
Like I said, there's something about it. You know what I mean? There's something in knowing you have something secure, but there is something about just
going.
About the going, about the travel,
the adventure,
about
the adventure, the unknown.
The adventure.
It's the freedom.
If we know that this year is an year for travel,
and it's not my right.
We can kind of put our energy in that area, right? Because for Sagittarians, if they stay at home and they don't travel around, they're gonna go mad. Because it's gonna be very chaotic.
We get lazy, and then we start going crazy because you're just sitting there battling with yourself because you want to be doing something, but what are you doing?
Norma, I am hearing you loud and clear. And in the winter
I'm Leo rising, but I feel that Sagittarian energy. I don't know. So
all right, so let's move through these, and then I want to talk about some other things with Lakshay. Am I pronouncing that right? Lakshay.
Yeah, perfect. It's Lakshay.
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 All right, I'm American, so I'm going to pronounce things extra weird.
But I think Tammy, when I had a show with Tammy for the first time, she said Lakshi.
Lakshi. I said Lakshay right now. I said Lakshay. I'm gonna have to change that word.
Yeah. But Tammy knows now that it's Lakshay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move to Capricorn.
But
you know what?
He's got to be,
we're all humans, and
he's prima donna a little bit, so he's got to have his name and lights. Just kidding. No, he's very good at what he does. And I've been talking to him for. We've known each other for what?
Good few years now,
since 2012, 2013.
2000 Astrology, 2011, yeah.
We started doing podcasts, right?
Yeah, 2011. I was going to say it's
wow, man, that's been a while. Still look young, so do I.
I've gotten old.
And I'm still learning. I'm still learning. You know,
always learning.
Always. And that's
learning.
right. That's the one thing I want to
Okay,
tell
so
anybody.
we were in Sagittarius.
Sorry, yes.
Now we move on to
Capricorn.
Capricorn.
So again, a very good year for Capricorn.
Good.
Very good year because
Capricorns.
because they've got rid of Rahu and Ketu. I'm sorry. And it's better health for them because Rahu is in the 6th house. 6th house is the house of enemy. It's the house of health.
Rahu, you said Rahu, right? You said, hold on, I'm going to stop you
Rahu,
just for a
that's
second.
right.
Rahu. What is Rahu?
Rahu is the... So how I explain, it's a shadow planet. It's not a real planet.
Okay.
It's just a shadow. It's formed by shadow. But it's one of the most important planets that we have in Vedic astrology.
We all have
So
shadows.
it's that shadow. Yeah, I get you.
Awesome.
Okay.
That's for
Anyway,
Shadow
continue,
planet.
please.
And it represents the head of the serpent. It represents the head of the serpent. So
represents the head of the
when we have a Rahu Dasha,
it would make sense too, though.
we kind of,
because we're earthbound, the serpent, the lower being the head. That actually kind of makes total sense.
And we see that people who are people who have number 4. Number 4 indicates Rahu. They kind of walk like a serpent. They can't reach to a place directly. They always take like a long route to even go 1 kilometer.
Yeah, my daughter, she seems like a total contradiction. She knows in her mind, and the way she says and speaks it is totally. And you know what? I can't say just my daughter. I am guilty of this too. I think I'm being more conscious of it, and I think I'm getting better. However, I'm a walking contradiction. The way I think is, you know what I mean? But then I'm like totally doing the opposite, really, of what the easy road would be, right? Because I'm getting it, and yet I'm doing something else.
So I think the number on which you are born is also very important, the date. So like Rahu, it's number 4. So people who are born on the 13th or 31st or 4th, these 3 dates, they are so they are governed by Rahu. So again, we have different numbers for different planets, and we can have another episode for
see. And I'm sign of change.
But okay, let's move to Capricorn. Capricorn is there because it's a good time for relationships. It's a very favorable transit for them. It's gonna be good in terms of health because Rahu has occupied the 6th house. So it's gonna, it's gonna be the warrior for them and fighting against all the diseases. Yeah. So very, very favorable for Capricorns, definitely.
That's awesome.
Okay. So can I ask another question? So houses, there are 12, is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay, so the 12 houses, to me, what I'm seeing in that represents 12 dimensions. And as we ascend through each dimension, we're becoming more and more aware of, where we're at, what we can do, how we can create, how we can overcome the things in this 3rd dimension. So, okay, I just wanted to know that because I didn't know how many houses there were.
You are right. It's 12 houses, and every house represents something in your life. For example, the 1st house is the house of personality, the house of health. It's the most important house. The 2nd house, family. The 4th house is the house of mother. It represents mother. It represents your home country. Yeah, so it's like every house has something to do. The 12th house is for foreign travel. The 10th house is for career. So depending upon which planets are placed in which houses, we can see, what's going to happen and how you can
mean something else for you, depending upon like where you're living, how you're living, where your state of mind is.
Yeah.
Those houses mean to you. What does the family house mean to you? It's that 1st house for you, the human being. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it is. That's why I say, even the moment you're born into 3 separate dimensions.
You know what? And that says a lot to me. I'm sorry to jump in here like that, but that says something to me. I never seen it in terms like that, especially with the number 3. The number 3 is very significant in numerology and in our everyday life, being body, soul, spirit, Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
Yeah,
There's so many things that the number 3 represents, and I did not know that. I did not know you were born.
That's what astrology does. It connects the math to the spiritual. It's spirit science. That's what we're all about.
It's beautiful to see that missing part for me, knowing that we come in on this third dimension with 3 levels of, what do you call it, Lakshay? What
consciousness of dimensions of just however, you come in with 3 levels.
Beautiful.
The time you're born, the day you're born. The,
right, where are we at? Where
and
we
then
at?
you go add more dimensions with your name.
Which sign are we at?
Sorry.
Aquarius.
After Capricorn comes.
Okay, Aaron, Saggies a cool it.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Damn fire signs.
Yeah. We're a pain in the ass.
So so we are now at Aquarius, and which is the 11th sign, and it's again ruled by Saturn. So it's going to be very favorable for all the Aquarians out there, because Jupiter is in the 10th house for them. So it's going to take care of their career, of their job. So that's going to be good. In fact, in their current job, and if they're into business, then there can be an expansion in the business. The business is going to scale for more deals coming in, more partners coming in, and more customers. Only
socially, basically what you're saying is they're going to have to be social butterflies.
Social butterflies. Yep.
Right? He's got his hand on his chin right now. He froze with his hand on his chin, and that really made
me think. Picture.
Is he thinking about this? Is he like thinking about the question I just asked? He's going, things that make you go,
Oh.
Yeah.
Did you hear my question, brother?
I keep like.
Did you hear my question?
Yeah. I think I lost you. Hello?
Yeah, basically what I was saying. Can you hear me? We're losing him.
Lakshay, you've got to breathe, brother.
You got all this. Yeah, we're blaming it on him.
No, I mean, we have a lot of energy too, but what I'm saying though is his is.
It's all Lakshay's fault.
No.
Just blame it all on Lakshay.
No. Yours is very much contained and focused, where ours is kind of ADD.
Chaotic.
And so,
chaos is
as you're trying to keep up with us in your maintained and focused mind, it's like we're bundling up your energy and freezing you, and for that we apologize.
So what I'm saying was, what I was saying to that last forecast, right, the last sign, was it? So basically, what you're saying to Aquarius is be who you are, which is a social butterfly.
Yeah, that's very right. Interacting with people, that's what they're good at.
Yes.
And my advice for them would be just stick to their current job and not go for a job change, because Jupiter in the 10th house shows expansion. So in their current job or in their current business, I see a lot of growth for them. So awesome. If they have an idea to switch job or change their current
so stay
good idea, because
what
you should
you're doing right now. Stay within what you
already stay with what you're doing right now. Yeah.
And work on that. Yes. Stay.
And it's going to be rewarding for you. It's going to be rewarding for you all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay with your plan. Stay the course.
That's right. Pisces, which is the last zodiac.
No.
And
that would be my sign. That would be Pisces, which is the coolest sign of all. So
he's triple Pisces, so he is also
my sun, my moon, and my what's the next one?
I'm a
There's
Sag.
Number 3 again.
Sag, I think.
Oh.
Triple Pisces.
You know what? For Pisces, it shows a lot of travel related to work. So it shows a lot of work related travel. So maybe you need to maybe travel around
Is that
for
astral
predictions.
travel or is that like physical travel? Because
Both
I
travels.
astral travel
If
all
we
the
can't
time.
physically
Beam me up.
astral, just kidding.
That's right.
Travel in
Job
any
related to
Go ahead, continue, brother.
Yeah. So it shows a lot of travel related to work. So, whatever work you're engaged in,
astral.
so that may require you to travel around, So that's something which I see. So if it's a business, then business meetings around. And also I see a job change for them. I see a job change for them. So I think it's going to be favorite job if they think new or look for more
So
opportunities
maybe get
around
back into
them.
some music and make some money then.
Music? Play music. I like music.
I'm just saying because he sees a job change being beneficial, and your other really key huge skill is music.
Well, and you can take that as that's the thing is a job change. You realize the change, so
yeah,
that's the whole part of things. Yes, it comes out general, but what is it? You can notice that there's a change coming. So if there's a change coming, basically what we're saying and what he's saying is go with that flow of that change. That change is coming. Yeah, we're Pisces, man. We're the oldest on the zodiac. So without putting too much ego in, and I'm putting ego in, I know. Because there is the I am, and that's just
go ahead, brother. We'll let you. We give you some grace. Right?
So basically, what you do is you be a Pisces.
I can burn within the
you go with the flow. You swim in balance.
Yeah.
You just do, which is accept change and go with it. Am I right?
Yeah, very right, very right, Aaron. Pisces is a very intelligent sign. They know how to manage everything intelligent. So they are people who don't even need a support system. So they can self-manage.
That's true. That's true.
They're very wise.
So hey.
Right,
I don't know anybody that don't need a support system.
Yeah, you're right, Shani.
You know what?
I just mean to say
it doesn't mean Pisces can't work in a support system and allow that. But what Pisces is, at least in my experience, from me and the Pisces I know, we don't need anybody, but we would love to have everybody. And it works much better when we have everybody.
Let's party.
But we don't need you, like we don't need to hang on to you to do what we feel is right and what we feel we need to do. We don't need, we love to bring in partners, and we're usually the good person that's like the advisor instead of the leader, the figurehead, right? We love to be that person and work with people, but you know what? We don't need you. If you're not willing to work with us and compromise with us like we do with you, then fucking get lost.
Yeah.
You can beat that if you want to, but
I love it.
No, and that's, you know what, and that's just it, as me being Sagittarian and needing as many people as, because I like that social, I need a lot of things, but at the same time, I am very much, you know what, though?
All right. I just get my charger.
Or I'm coming battery. To say that though I disagree, then all right.
So we're at the end of Pisces. Pisces is basically going with the flow. Are you taking a break?
Oh, I just got the charger. Yeah.
All right. So what I wanted to ask you a couple of questions, or at least I'm going to ask you a question, and then I want Tammy to ask you a question. Just all of the efforts of teaching all of us, so we can learn from what you're saying and what knowledge you have to bring, right? Because that's really what ULPLM is. It's bringing new information so others can learn, so we're not as ignorant as we humans are. We're very ignorant as humans, but as we learn more, and this is what's going on right now, is this big push of change, because we are evolving. We're evolving past the old world. We're going from Pisces to Aquarius. No, he said no. We're going from Aquarius. We're in the Aquarian age, right?
Yeah. So very true that we are always evolving and we need to learn new things, right? Yeah. And I think this is a very good platform.
So we'll get all the way up here. It's just like a roller coaster. Think about that. Okay, when you start the roller coaster, it's really it's really boring. You're like, God damn it, I'm waiting so we can go. We're sitting in this chair. You got me locked up, and we're not doing anything yet, right? And then it starts to go creep slowly, and then it starts to creep slowly up. This is how life works.
Yep.
And it creeps slowly up, and it creeps slowly up, and it starts to build up until it hits this peak, and then it starts to get over the peak, and woo, away we go, right?
True.
And we don't know what the hell, you know, that's how momentum works. And really what I wanted to ask you, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go off on that little tangent.
That's all right.
What I wanted to ask you is, if, like I was saying before, if somebody wanted to get into astrology and they were very interested in it, what would be the way that you would, what would you give to somebody, say, that never knew about astrology ever? What would be the first thing you would teach them to get them excited about it?
The first people who Vedic astrology.
Oh, hold on, you paused.
You got excited. You excited him, honey.
PHS.
That energy.
There's a lot of energy, like Mr. Strange, Dr. Strange, right? Hold on, you got to start over. Hold on, let's stop. Take a deep breath.
Is it
Slow
better?
Now
down.
you're going fast too, honey.
I know, I'd go fast. I'm a psychic. I'm a clairvoyant, so we go really fast. So start that again.
All right, here we go.
Yeah. So the first thing that people should do who want to learn astrology is read this book called Brihat Parashar Hora Shastra. That's the book.
Hold on, go back. Pronounce that. We are not.
Brihat.
You're talking in America. We're Americans, man.
We're
kind of slow. So
yeah, so it's called.
What I'm saying is we don't slow that down. Okay, to get somebody excited about it, say you didn't have a book to give them, what would be one thing you would tell them about astrology or Vedic astrology that would get them excited? I'm talking about a tagline. I'm talking about a soundbite.
And this is the part that
you have to do this in a couple of words, in a couple of, just in one sentence.
So I'll tell them that Vedic astrology is like Google Maps. So you can reach your destination. Say if you want to go to California, you can reach it, but you might reach it in 3 days if you don't have maps with you. But if you have maps, you may know obstacles are, and you can get the shortest and the shortest way and the most effective way to get to your destination. So it's like a person who does not use astrology will also get whatever he wants in life, but with more obstacles, with more challenges on the way. So he might get there, but it may take him 20 years to achieve what he could in 5 years with the knowledge of astrology.
If I just looked over here and saw that this was my obstacle, I could have taken some time over here to figure out how to figure it out before I got there.
So it's like a tool which helps you along your way, you know, to let you know that, you know, so avoid this route, go towards this direction, avoid that direction. So even if you go to that direction, you may come back. But it's just going to take you more time and more energy. You know, it's going to be a lot of energy drainage if you go everywhere and then find out your own way, right? So it's like, so that's how it helps you.
Roadmap in which you placed yourself. And I like to put it that way because here's the thing. We are born at the time, place, etc. that we choose, okay? No matter how you want to choose to look at birth, your soul chose that time, place, and
striking. That was your lightning striking when you come into that human body, so human existence.
When you understand the astrology in which you put yourself in, and trust me, I've been trying to learn.
Well, and part of it's not just what you choose. Part of it actually is. It is destiny. It's what you were born under. It's what your soul was born under.
Exactly.
Right.
Here's the whole thing. Here's the roadmap in which I placed myself. Okay.
Right.
Now, I have free will. I have the stars. I have angels, guides, masters, saints. I have so many tools you can use at my dispense. But here is the roadmap in which I have placed myself. How do I get through here at my prime? Now, I can go ahead and get through here no matter how I get through here with the map, without the map. I'm going to get through it. But if I have my roadmap, I can see that this day's bringing this, so it might be best, especially if I've already figured out what my decision is going to be. I don't do it here. I either do it here or I do it here. Now, if I shouldn't do it here, maybe I need to give myself more time and do it over here. Just not do it here. Because if I do it here, I could prematurely give myself some anxiety, some worries, some stress that maybe I might get through, but I would rather not deal with.
Right.
Right? So it's understanding who you are as a human being. And astrology is a serious roadmap. That is your DNA basics.
It's basically like something,
okay.
like he said, it's a map.
Yes.
It's a map that gets you where you need to go.
It's like a map.
You get there faster.
Yeah.
And it's been my grandmother was an astrologer, so she was one of the ones that she was one of the biggest proponents in my life as far as bringing me to my spirituality and my abilities.
Wow.
And she wasn't a psychic per se. She was more of an astrologer. She liked to do everything with math and details and astronomy. They use astronomy and math, and they map everything out. Basically what you guys are cartographers for the soul, and a map of everything that's going on and what happen at certain times, because certain planets have collided, or not collided, but they've gone past each other or eclipsed each other, or they're moving in a certain way that will make this energy this way. There's a very, very intricate and complicated science to it that they've been able to, through thousands of years, probably more than that, hundreds of thousands, not more, of years, that they've been able to calculate, to a certain extent. This is your roadmap. This is your theme. Now you can be you in this theme. Yep. This is what you. This is what you've chosen. This is partly what you were born under.
Yep.
And that's how I see it. I mean, I have grown up with it, but I didn't take the time to actually do a chart or anything.
I've done many times trying to figure it out, but and that's why I say it comes to accepting what you've given yourself birth to.
True.
So technically, if you ask simply science, I have a mentally ill mind. However, if you ask them also compared to other members in the same family, in the same cycle, in the same whatever, I would be far less than, you see what I'm saying? So anyway, there are many different things and many different excuses, many different ailments, many different cycles, many different roadblocks, many different, however you want to word these things. Astrology is your basic roadmap to and that's why I've always explained ourselves as our own little universe, because we are all is mind,
but we are affected by the outer, by the greater, by the greater of all of us, right?
Someone outside can affect.
You know what? A lot of time, and most of the time we don't even know what we are capable of.
Yes, exactly.
Like, we don't know what we are capable of. So if we don't know what we may, get to, then we might be wasting our time in doing something else.
Right.
So I think astrology gives you that direction that don't do that.
It's like a spiritual guidance counselor. It's like a guidance counselor,
like a spiritual guide.
That's living as a human.
Yeah.
When you're a human, this is your guidance.
Yep.
These are certain things you can go for.
Now you still get to make.
And I'm telling you, I've done my horoscope many times, and it always leads me back to counseling, to helping others, to using my intuition. It's not that I'm sure I was a little bit influenced by that, but I've done it many times, many different ways, and it always comes out the same way, to a similar place where I can see, okay, I can look at it from the macro and say, okay, I'm good at counseling. I'm good at talking to people. I'm a very creative person. I'm also a very intuitive and imaginative person. So that kind of leads me to this place as, in my life, which doesn't mean everybody that was born at the exact same time as I was is going to be a psychic, as a professional. But in my life and the way things have worked for me, that's where I actually have succeeded more. And that is exactly what my horoscope has told me since I remembered, first knew what a horoscope was in this lifetime.
See, my horoscope is a contradiction like I am.
I'll be right back after that.
Probably is too. I don't know, but I do have a question.
Karen's going to take a little leaky leak, and I'm going to let Tammy ask her question before I go on to my round.
A wiki leak? What the hell's a wiki leak?
It's a better way of saying a leak. Because
Okay.
we all want to bring attention to the WikiLeaks issue. WikiLeaks is a journalism system. He is a journalist. He takes information, he verifies it, he makes sure it's honest, he makes sure. WikiLeaks is 100%. They have never, ever, ever, not one time printed anything they've had to reject. Never anything they've had to apologize for. Never anything wrong. They go through it. They journalize properly. They verify the information they print, and the shit they print may not be what our government likes right now, but it is the truth of the truth. And let's understand that we cannot, because we don't like someone or something or a certain energy of something, deny the fucking truth. Just like I was born under the sign I was born on, underneath the signs I was, understanding the tools, prospects. He's a journalist. He went through all the proper channels. What he was printing was verified and honest, and he printed it. You don't have to like it. You don't have to believe it. But know that no matter what that man has done in his truth or in his personal life, no matter what it is you do or do not like about this person, he has never printed anything wrong. So,
well, I think we should all be WikiLeaks. We should all be WikiLeaks. That should be the moral code to, you know, deliver the truth and speak the truth. But anyway, going back, my question is, how do you see the readings in the horoscope? How does that play in being a psychic, and how does that come together to flow? Because I know as a psychic,
how can a psychic utilize or astrology, right? Is that what you're trying to say?
Exactly. Yes, because I mean, I go by feelings, discernment, and dreams and visions. Okay, and the zodiac and the astrology to me would seem more of an outside source. So how do you marry the two?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question, Tammy. I think astrology and the psychic science, they work like together, because for me also, like being in this profession for the last 7-8 years, gradually I'm developing a sense of intuition. I think that comes with interacting with people and, you know, interacting with various energies, intuitive, right? So I think for me, it is coming naturally to me because I'm seeing all these energies on a daily basis. So it kinds of now sometimes even without seeing the horoscope, I can tell, okay, I know what's the problem with you. You know, so even sometimes without doing the calculations, just I can feel the energy. So I think for you guys also, if you kind of get the hang of, you know, the zodiacs, it's gonna add a lot of value to your predictions. So because it's going to give you a certain subject to speak about and a certain logic to attach with.
How I would describe it is the astrology is more of a technical side, where the psychic ability is more of the feeling side and the seeing and like allowing naturally. Where this is the astrology kind of gives you the technical side or more of the scientific side, whatever way you want to say it. I mean, it gives you more of like the mathematical background and the mathematical backup.
So in essence, so in essence, you would have to take the steps in doing the work to develop your discernment and what you're seeing in the zodiac and how things are flowing, which leads you into more of using your intuitiveness and your intuition. Okay,
because I think if you have both the things,
that's good.
In my
it's mathematical.
I agree.
It's a way of being able to
bring
mathematics
physical view, right?
And the way that they've put mathematics to spiritualism and cosmic events,
right,
that cause energy shifts, energy transits, and that's what we're talking about right now. Go ahead.
And you know, talking of mathematics,
mind.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah, go
Tammy.
ahead.
All right, let's go Tammy first.
Yep.
Go ahead, Tammy.
Yeah,
State
sure.
scripture,
Sorry, guys.
because there's not many scriptures about
Thanks for
astrology.
being patient with us.
That's all right. Yeah, Tammy.
Well, as you guys were talking, a scripture came to my mind that that to me it kind of represents both sides of the balance. Where there's a scripture that says, "Faith without works is dead." So I can kind of see how marrying it together, the psychic is, you know, a lot of times staying in that spirit realm of having to operate in faith.
Good job,
That the zodiac and astrology can bring together.
Yes. Yes. That's for me.
It brings together that whole dimension.
Yeah. Astrology has always been that what's going on with myself inwardly. And now, granted, most of the readings I get are very general for my main sign, which is Sagittarius. But even within that and having that tool, I'm able to go, okay, Norma, here's where we're at. Here's where the stars are. Here's what they're saying. Where are we? You know what I mean? Like, I'm able to take this physical 3D logical thing that is explainable and in science, right? And go within myself, within me, and go, okay, so whether we want to be spiritual or not, here's what this says is going on with what has been proven is my sign, right?
Norma, that's a lot of work. To me, that's a lot of work. You have to back up and regroup and reanalyze and my side of Sagittarius don't want to go there. I'm fucking running off to another topic. I'm done with it. You know?
Well, and that's, you know, for me, well, I spent a lot of young childhood was a lot of experiences. Not necessarily a lot I remember, but I know I had a lot of experiences. And then I went through like this pre-teen growing up hood, where I was dealing with loss and a lot of other things. And then in between that pre-young and pre-teen area is where I really introverted. Now, whether you want to say this is because of being a victim and this is whatever, doesn't matter. I went into this state of being inside of me and realizing that the people outside of me maybe thought things that I didn't think, right? And so, though being young and not understanding things, it kind of brought me into this whole, like, you know, self aspect of myself that wasn't healthy. It also brought me to this place of understanding that I'm more than just this, right? Because now I understand that piece of this life that I'm living right now may think something different when it looks at me. It may feel something different with my energy, my presence.
So what does this have to do with astrology?
And so what this has to do with astrology
Bring it back home, baby.
Bring it back home. Is from a young age. Whether you understand astrology or not, when you can place that outside of yourself with the inside of yourself, you bring yourself to a place where you can find
an outside
that
being
balance.
The astrology, right? Or
outside as being astrology, or being that physical something outside of yourself that you can bring within.
All right, brother. So we're gonna finish this off, but I wanted to ask you one more question. Now that we've all asked, did you ask a question? You didn't ask a question. Would you like to ask a question?
Oh, I got many questions.
Well, I mean, one question for each of us. So if you didn't take one, go ahead and ask. And then we're going to finish up, and I'm going to ask you one more question on top of it.
Well, no, mine would be far too, you know, because I'm in this realm of being very specific. And so I would give you my time, date, and say, okay, so is there this thing? Because like I said, something quick that you can answer. Well, but never mind. Okay, so I'll just finish the conversation, hopefully some other time. Because just the thought itself is going to take me a minute.
So I wanted to ask, okay, so as far as looking, let's change the what we're looking at in the target to being more of, so right now, what is it, March 15th? So from March 15th And over the next couple of months, what should all of us be looking for as far as cosmic changes, as far as astrological shifts, as far as a whole? You know, all of us houses under one.
Yeah, so I think if we talk about in general for everyone, I think the next month is going to be better than what it is now, because Jupiter is going to join Saturn and Ketu. Is going to be better for everyone, because when you have Jupiter joining Saturn and Ketu, then you have more wisdom, you have more knowledge. So it's gonna, yeah, because Jupiter is like a very knowledgeable planet, you know. So it's gonna kind of it's gonna make peace with Saturn and Ketu, because currently Saturn and Ketu are contradicting, and you know they have a lot of chaos in there. So it's gonna kind of
they're going to make peace for a while.
Really, it's going to make peace, yeah. So I think for a while, it's just going to be in April. So April is going to be better than how it is now. But then again, in May, it's going to leave Saturn and Ketu and go back to Scorpio. So the challenge is going to, I think in this 1 month, people,
Scorpios.
But in this 1 month, people will understand how to deal with it.
Yes.
Right.
So as far as world events, where do you think we're going over the next few months? I mean, because you know, there's a lot of fear that's being pushed out there, and there's a lot of real concern that we need to have. And I know, especially in your home country in India, right? You're from India.
Exactly.
In your home country in India, there's some conflicts going on. So as far as the grand scheme of that, and where we're headed as a people, as a humanity, you know, as a global humanity, where do you think we're going? Have you ever looked into that, or do you have any insight into that?
Yeah. So I think whenever these transits happen, like, you know, it happened early March, and we had a lot of things happening in India. We have stuff happening in New Zealand, as you know, that, you know, the attacks that happened in New Zealand in the mosque, and you know, all of that.
Shootings.
Yes. Right. Yeah, you heard about that. So I think it always happens whenever some major transits happen. Saturn changes the sign, or Rahu, Ketu, they change their signs. Around that time, all of this happens, right? It's every year that we see such things.
Astrologically, hold on. I know, I'm sorry. I have to say though, astrologically in speaking, what is it that the stars are saying when these times?
Like our times as in
like, what is it that
if we're looking to plan things, like where do you think things are going? I know I'm putting you to the test. Sorry, brother, but you know that's the way it works.
Well, I was sticking with what he was saying. I just want to know how the stars say it.
Like that's what he's saying. That's what he's saying.
Things are saying.
He's talking about whenever there's a transit, there's always some extreme things that happen. Right?
Yeah, that happen. But I think after that become better. So I think again, this is what is going to happen. That whatever chaos had to happen has happened, and now we are getting to a better world. Because now that the planets have got in their houses where they wanted to go, now they're going to relax there, you know, get comfortable, and then things will fall into place eventually. So I think the rest of the year is going to be better if we talk, you know, from a broader perspective, you know, because whatever damage that had to happen has already happened. So it's going to get better from here.
Okay. See, that's good. See, I was just wondering, like, what are those extremes?
Yeah, and because of the negatives, a lot of the negatives that we all see, when we realize them and we show that we are okay with them, they have to change. The voice is the most powerful thing. The collective consciousness, if the collective consciousness is going in the same direction, it doesn't matter how corrupt you are. It doesn't matter how much power you have. That is more powerful than anything. That energy of that collective consciousness is more powerful than anything. So some of the things, the bad things that are happening is very transparent right now.
And that's
though it's happening, it's actually we're reacting in a positive way. So we are going through a good positive change as far as I see it. It's just we're seeing a lot of negativity right now because we have to see it first before we can fix it.
Well, because you have to acknowledge and realize that it's actually there. Before, you know what I mean? You can't ignore something and be closed off to something or ignorant to something and change it. If I don't know that 2 times 2 is 4.
Yes, that's right. That's 2 times 2. Damn.
Sorry, no, because I was saying a lot more in my brain there for a second when I was trying to say that.
Okay, so we're going to wrap it up, so go ahead.
Then I have room to, as I just did, think about that, right? How can I actually change something I don't see or understand? If I'm ignorant to it, I don't even know it exists.
And that brings us back to astrology and what to be prepared for.
There's
and
no
what to see. And a lot of it, astrology for me has always been like more so not about the future, but more so about the present events. Like it puts me more at ease to know, okay, there's a reason this shit's happening. So I just need to flow with it and work with it and adapt and move forward. And so anyway, thank you very much here, Lakshay, for being on our show.
Yes,
and
it was
I hope to have you back here
pleasure.
with them, and we can go over everything again and kind of give everybody an update. Thank you, Tammy, for being here.
Yes.
Tammy's one of the hosts of ULPLM.
Spirit Intuitive Tammy.
Oh, she's lovely.
Thank you all for being here. And please give us a like, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, and the little bell, please, if you liked what you saw. And
if you have anything to add,
if you have anything to add, send a comment. But I would like to wrap it up and let everybody kind of get back to their weekend. But y'all have a great weekend, and thank you for being here. And we will see you next time on ULPLM.
Bye.
Bye.